Hello friends, welcome to our Facebook live session this morning. So today we have a very important aspect to discuss, and during these times, it's a time of crisis. All of us are at home and we all would be thinking about the future. But for special need children families, there is a special need child to care, and when there is a special need child, uh, there is requirement of a person who will support the child for the lifetime. But there are many aspects which are a concern for special children families. Now, what's going to happen after us during our lifetime? What are the provisions we should create? Who will take care of the child? Uh, what will happen to the finances? Will the finances take care of the child for the lifelong? So all of these concerns are hovering around families when they are caring for a special need child. Now today what we are discussing is a very important aspect, and that is estate planning tools. Now when we talk about estate planning tools, we are talking about during the lifetime, how your assets should be distributed after your lifetime, how the assets will be distributed, who will own the assets. Now when you have a special need child, so you are concerned that will he be able to manage the finances. If he is not, then who will manage the assets, how will the assets be secure. But apart from these, there are many other considerations. Now guardianship, who is going to be the guardian, who will take care of the child personally. So all of these are concerns which is there with special children families, and today we are going to talk about those estate planning tools which will ensure that the care of a special need child for lifetime is going to continue without any hindrance. Now let me take you through these estate planning tools one by one. I'm not going to discuss much about them in detail, but I'm going to give a brief about these estate planning tools and how actually they benefit when you are planning for your special child future. Now the first estate planning tool, and the most important, probably the first one you will face in your life, is the guardianship. So a legal guardianship. Now it's an estate planning tool which is required during the lifetime of the parent, and which parents have to think about after their lifetime also. Now when the child is a minor, that is up till 18 years of age as the law stands, so the parents are considered a natural guardian. That means you can take all the decisions on the child behalf, whether financial, legal, or any other decisions. But the moment child turns 18, then he or she is an adult. An adult does not require another person to take decision on their behalf. So the law stands that once the child turns 18, then you are not anymore the natural guardian. But we know that the special need child require another person to support for the lifetime, and that's where the legal guardianship is important. And so once the child turns 18, the first thing you have to do is to seek the legal guardianship, so that legally you are authorized, you can to take legal, financial, or any other decision on your child behalf. So this is about you when you are seeking a legal guardianship, and the law says that the blood relatives are the one who have to who are allowed to be the legal guardian of the child. Now this is when you are seeking the legal guardianship in your lifetime. But what happens after you? Who takes care of the child? We are not talking about the financial affairs, but who is going to take the decisions on your child behalf? And that's where appointing a guardian becomes very important. And so the guardianship is not only about within your lifetime, it's also appointing a guardian after your lifetime. And the documents through which you can appoint a guardian for your child are: one is you can do it through a will, but then the challenges in the will are that if the will goes for a probate, then what happens to the guardianship? How the legal guardian will take the custody of the child for managing his affairs? That's where a letter of guardianship is important. So through a letter of guardianship, you can appoint some other person who is going to be the legal guardian of your child, will manage the personal and even the financial affairs in situations, and will take care of the child much like you for the child lifetime. So the first document or the first estate planning document is the legal guardianship, which parents have to seek once the parent turns 18, and second, after the parent's lifetime, parents have to appoint a legal guardian, and they can be appointed either through a will or through a letter of guardianship. Now the second document or the second estate planning tool, which is also a very important, and is the will. Now we have been discussing a lot about will, why a will is important, why a will is required. So the first thing is that if you die intestate, then what the law says about distribution of your assets, it's going may goes against your wish, because the law says that the assets are distributed equally among the legal heirs. Now you have a special need child to care. You do not want the financial asset goes to your child after you, because he or she won't be able to manage those assets. So you need somebody else to manage those financial affairs. It can be a legal another legal framework. It can be the legal guardian also, who can manage the personal and financial affairs both. But these things can only happen if you are writing a will. Without a will, the assets won't be managed by the legal guardian. The assets won't be bequeathed to the trust. Also, when there is a special need child, then and if there is a sibling, then what happens that you would like maybe more assets you would like to secure for your special need child, and that can happen only when there is a will. So a will is also a very important estate planning tool. And if there is no will, that is if you are dying intestate, then it's not only the asset distribution, but it's also the legal process which the family has to go through for claiming those assets. And generally when the death happens, the family is not in a mindset, is not in a situation where they can go through these lengthy legal procedures. So you would like to make things simple. So writing a will, be it whatever life stage you are, becomes very important, especially when you have a special need child to care. And as I said earlier, assets will never go to the trust if you are creating a trust if there is no will, because in the law, in the Succession Act, there is no mention of a trust. It's simply the legal heirs, and the legal heirs, there is a list of legal heirs which is defined by the law, and all the assets will go to them equally. So writing a will is very important, and so it becomes a very important estate planning tool. Now the other tool which is there for special children families, and generally we advise all special children families to utilize this tool, and that's a private trust. Now a private trust is a legal framework where the private trust is going to manage all the financial affairs of your child. Now the assets once goes to the private trust, they will be secured in a sense that the private trust is being considered who is going to take the custody of the trust, and trustees are the one who are going to manage the trust. The assets won't be owned by anyone, won't be owned by the trustees, and one of the bigger advantages is that no other legal hire or even your creditors cannot lay the claim on the financial assets which are there in the trust. So a trust is a legal framework which is answering the question of continuity of your child affairs, financial affairs. Trust is not supposed to manage the personal affairs, so the legal framework you have to create is utilizing these estate planning tools, where the trust is created and a legal guardian is appointed. Both manages the complete affairs of the child. The guardian is managing the personal affairs of the child, and the trust is managing the financial affairs of the child. And the estate planning tool, we have talked about will, that will ensure that the assets are passed on to the trust after your death, and those assets are then utilized only for the child benefit. So we have talked about guardianship, why it is important. It's one of the important estate planning tool for ensuring that the child affairs continues. There is some other person who is required to manage the special child affairs for the lifelong. He is there. At your death, he can take the custody of the child and start managing the affairs of the child. The second we have spoken about is a will, that what the law says, if there is no will, is not to your advantage, because the special child also gets bequeath the assets, and the other legal heirs who bequeath the assets. So the assets are not distributed as per your wish. If you have created a trust, and if the asset does not go to the trust, then all your estate planning for financial security of your child will go haywire. So that's why writing a will is important. A private trust, again, we have spoken about, it's another legal framework where you are creating a framework which will continue managing the financial affairs of the child after you also. Now, in a trust, you can create a living trust where you can create the trust within your lifetime. You can be the initial trustees, you can start managing the trust, and after you, then the next line of the next line of trustees can manage the trust, and the trust is there till the objective is completed, that is till the child, the special need child is there as a beneficiary. Now the next legal document or the next estate planning tool is a living will. It was not in India before, but Supreme Court has allowed now writing a living will. Now what is a living will? It's a health directive to the physician. Now we have seen in many movies, and we also come across many situations where suppose you are in old age, or due to any health situation you are bedridden. Now you are not able to make any decision, but through the help of a life support, your situation continues, it gets prolonged. Now there are emotional impact is always there, but there are also financial impact on your family. Now in these situations, what happens, that what living will does is that it gives a health directive to your physician, that if you reach to a certain situation where you are on a life support, we say it, end of life support, so you designate, you allows them to remove the life support, and it's like you are giving a wish to end your life. Now why living will is important? Because it's not only during the old age you will reach to a situation where you are not able to make any decisions, but as I said, there are financial impact of this situation where if you are hospitalized and in a hospital, if you are on a life ending support, then we all know what the cost of those treatment are. As I said, emotional aspect is something different which nobody can deal with, but then there are financial impact, and you would not like those financial impact to come to your family. So living will is there in practice in India with certain terms and conditions, but yes, living will is also one important document which you should be writing when you have a special need child care, because any financial impact which you can reduce, which can help living more for your child, you would like to complete that document today. Now the next estate planning tool after the living will is power of attorney. Now we know what is a general power of attorney. In a general power of attorney, you are giving decision making to a second person who is considered your agent, and he takes all those decisions which you would have taken on your behalf, and the moment you revoke a power of attorney, that agent is no more cannot take decisions on your behalf. Now a general power of attorney works till in a situation where you are well in good health. You may not be in India, you may be abroad. Most NRIs use a power of attorney tool to ensure that their assets in India, there is somebody else who can take decisions on their behalf in India. But there is a situation, let me talk about, is suppose due to health conditions, or maybe when you reach an old age, you get incapacitated. That is, you reach to a situation where you are not able to make any decisions for your child. Now if you are not able to make a decisions for your child, and you are the appointed legal guardian, then what happens? Then who make the decision? Because you were the appointed legal guardian, and due to health reasons or due to old age, now you have become incapacitated. So you reach to a situation where you cannot make decision, then what? And that's where a health power attorney helps you. What does health power attorney do is that if you reach to that situation, the health power attorney ensure that there is somebody else who can take decisions on your behalf for the child, and you can set the condition, set the limits of decision making in that power attorney. But it ensures that during these difficult times, somebody else who was not appointed a legal guardian, but you have appointed him to take decisions on your behalf, on the child behalf, if you reach to that situation. So we are talking about signing the bank documents, withdrawing the money, or taking any other decisions related to the child, medical issues related to the child therapies, or any other decisions. So a power attorney is also a very, very important document which special needs children families should consider. The next line of estate planning tool is a letter of intent. It's not a legal document, but I would say it's one of the most important document for any special child family. Now, when you as a parent, you are managing your child affairs, then you are you know very well about your child. You know very well that what are the child likes, dislikes, whom is he comfortable with, whom he is not comfortable with, who are doctors, who are physicians. But think a situation where suppose you are not there, a sudden death happens, and you have appointed somebody as a guardian. Now your child is tall, handsome, and suddenly one day the guardian comes to know that he has to take the custody of the child, this tall, handsome guy, and have to manage the affairs, and he is blank on knowing anything about the child affairs. Then what? How he would make decisions? So letter of intent is very, very important document. It's a guiding resource where if you write a letter of intent, and if you share it with your future caregivers, future guardians, future trustees, whatever information they want to know about your child, they can refer to the document and they can consider it. Now letter of intent, if you write a letter of intent, it gives them information about your child, right from his daily schedule, right from his likes, dislikes, his comfortability, his love with religion, his religious things, what activities he like, what activities he dislike, how do you handle him into different situations. So, and who are the doctors, who are the physicians, who are the therapists. With such a detailed information, any guardian or trustees, when they refer to this document, they come to know about your child affairs. And when you have written that this is how the child care should be managed, this is how the child should be dealt with if he reaches to a certain situation, they know very well that this is what they have to do. So a letter of intent is also a very, very important document. It's not a legal document. You do not have to register it. You have to just write it and you have to share it with your family members, with your friends, or the future guardians. So these are estate planning tools which special needs children families should consider. Some of these probably we are in during the time of this crisis, we cannot go out and we cannot register these documents, but at least you can make these documents ready today. So you can draft this document today, and some of these documents like a letter of intent is not to be registered. It's not required to be registered. You can complete your letter of intent in these times, so that guiding resource is available for the future caregivers. Will you can draft it today, because you do not require us will to be written on a stamp paper. You can write it today, you can complete it today. Similarly, a trust, if you want to create a trust for the benefit of your special child, that also can be drafted. The process of registration can be completed later. Similarly, all these legal documents, though in situation they require registration process, that can be completed later, but these estate planning tools can be completed today, can be drafted today. So I'll once again go through these. These are the most important, these are the estate planning tools which any family who have got a special need child to care should consider it. The first one is letter of intent. I would take letter of intent to be the primary document, because it's not a legal document. You have to write it. Only you, as a parent, as a guardian, only you can write this document. So you have to write it, complete it. So complete the letter of intent today. The other document is guardianship. One is legal guardianship when your child turns 18, but more than that, the appointment of the next guardian for your child during his minority or afterwards. So think about the guardian today, appoint a guardian today, write the letter of guardianship today. The third document is the will. Will is basically how your assets should be distributed, the provision of your guardian for your minor child, whom who will take care of the child, how the liability should be paid. All these things have to come into the will. What are your asset details? So the will should be written. When should the assets should go to the trust? Any condition you want to lay down. So all these things have to come into the will. Now will, as I said, can also be drafted today. You do not need a stamp paper. A will is not written on a stamp paper. If it is written on a plain paper, it is very well acceptable. So you can draft the will today. The next line of document is a trust, a private trust. Surely it requires a detailed discussion, the structure to be created, the assets to be transferred to the trust, when the asset should be transferred, who is going to be the trustees, who is going to be the initial trustees, the future trustees. All this require a detailed discussion. But when we are in these situations, when you have time, probably you can start thinking about all these, and you can at least lay down the structure during this time. So a private trust should be created. The next is the power of attorney. There are two power attorneys, as I said. A general power attorney, which is basically just managing your financial affairs, even when you are when you are in good health but you are not able to do so, maybe you are abroad. But then the next power attorney is durable power attorney or a health power attorney. That is, if you become incapacitated, then who is going to take the decisions for you? Who is going to manage the child affairs, financial documents? Who is going to sign the document? Who will withdraw the money? So you need somebody to do to manage all these affairs when you reach to a situation. So durable power attorney should be written. So these are estate planning tools. Some of these requires a detailed discussion. Some of these requires professionals who can help you in drafting these documents, who can help you in explaining the structures. But some of these probably you can do it at your home. Letter of intent, you can write it today, because you are the only one who is going to complete that letter of intent. A professional will only tell you that this is how it should be written. Will as I said, you can write it today. There is no difficulties in writing a will. All these documents which require registration can be completed tomorrow. But yes, these estate planning tools, when you are looking at question that what happens to my child after me, what is the legal framework I can create it, how my assets will be managed, whom those assets should be distributed to, then probably these estate planning tools help you to create that framework, to create that structure, to bring that security in your family, where the care for the special need child continues with the same lifestyle as you have given to him, with the same likes and dislikes. Nothing goes against it. And as I said, the care is taken very well when you have all these framework in place. So that was about estate planning tools. Okay, I'll taking some questions. Letter of intent written has to be point wise, covering each area separate. Yes, Dr. Ashok, the letter of intent has to be in detail. It needs to be covered very well. As I said, letter of intent is basically about your child life, right from the day when he is born. What happens, how have you dealt with then right from what have you have gone through, how the child have grown, his daily life, his likes, dislikes, who are the professionals, what happens in difficult situations, how you have handled him, what is your vision, what advice would you give to future trustees, future professionals, how to handle him, everything the letter of intent contains. And if somebody reads that letter of intent, he can understand about your child life more, much like you. And that's why I said letter of intent become the first document for any special child family to be written, and it should be written today. So when families come and ask me, no, what is the first document I should create, and I always tell them, create this letter of intent, because that is going to be guiding resource. Life is uncertain, we are going through those difficult times, and you do not want that. Okay, financial affairs, leave aside for a moment, but you do not want your child to be in a situation where the guardian has taken the custody, but he is unaware about your child affairs. He doesn't know anything, whom to contact, who are the professionals, and a guardian is not going to run behind much like you have done. We do understand that whomsoever you are appointing a guardian has his own personal life. So letter of intent should be written and should cover each element of your child life in detail. Okay. A living will is to remove life support. Yes, it is. Living will, as I said, it's generally a wish. It's a directive to the physicians that if you have reached to end of life support, and you are on those life support, and sometimes we see that the situation get prolonged. Okay. Then you can, through a living will, you can give your wish to remove all those life support, and probably to save yourself from all those pain you have to go through. So we know that in US and other countries it's very much in practice. So in India it has come into practice recently, and so it might not be as easy as just writing a will, but yes, it is in practice, and living will is there. So considering you have a special need child, and considering thinking about the financials you have to go through, I think it's also one of the important document that a special child family should consider. A trust require PAN card. See, drafting formation, it doesn't require any PAN card, but yes, once the trust is created, once the trust is registered, you will require the PAN card to open the bank account and to file your ITR. So PAN card is mandatory, and once the trust is registered, then you can very well apply for the PAN card without much of hassle. Vembu Kumar, private trust I am not covering here in detail because I have just spoken about estate planning tools. I have just given a brief about them, but yes, we are in the process of starting a webinar series for special children families, and we intend to do almost 25-30 webinars in a year, where we will be discussing all these estate planning tools in detail. So we will take up one webinar only on private trust, and we will be sharing the information when we are doing these webinars. So you can register for those webinars, and you can get information about private trust. Okay, it requires professional advice to write. Yes, for private trust you requires professionals, because it's a legal framework. Understand from that aspect, it's a legal framework. Once you write that document, you cannot amend it. It's going to run till your child life, and what you write today in your trust deed is how the trust is going to be run. So the drafting becomes very, very important, and I have always advised that without a professional advice, don't draft a private trust. So you will require a professional to help you in drafting the private trust as per your situation, as per what provision do you want, how do you want to structure it. All these advice a professional, where legal or estate planning professional can give you. So we at Plan Special Needs have been working with families, helping them drafting the private trust. Also we are helping them in the trust also, and very soon we will be launching a legal framework where we'll be helping families in the trusteeship services also. So we are preparing that ecosystem for special children families, where we will be working as a trustee also in private trust only for special children families. Okay, trust PAN card, do we need to apply? Yes, I have answered that. We need to apply, and once it is registered, then you can apply for it. Where to register trust? Generally, the trust is registered at your local sub registrar office, but we do face difficulties because uh, you know registering a charitable trust is easy, but even a private trust, not all sub registrar in all the cities are aware about how the private trust is gets registered. But I think in Mumbai it's much easier now. There are lot many private trusts which has got registered, and I am in touch with professionals knowing it that yes, in Mumbai sub registrar it's still much easier, but we have faced difficulties in other cities also, and we also helping sub registrar to know that a private trust has to be registered at their office. So it is going to be registered at a local sub registrar office only. Format for will, there are many format available on the net, but for special children families there is no standard format for will. So we does help families in drafting a will. So you can post your query to us, and we'll help you in drafting the will. As I said, there is no standard formats. There are sample formats which are available on the net if you download it, but with a special child, probably there might be some specific unique provision you want to create regarding distribution of asset, regarding who's going to manage your child affairs, appointing a legal guardian, maybe you would like to form the trust through the will. So all these provision has to be created, and so take a professional help if you are writing a will for a special child. But if it is a simple will where all the assets go to your, have all the assets have to be bequeathed to your wife after you, then it's a very simple will, and format is available on the net. If you search it on the Google, you will find that format, and you can draft the will. Okay, Dr. Ashok, you can be trustee for Mumbai parents. Yes, so we are going to, so because of this crisis, we have just delayed that formation, but we will be forming a private limited company launching the trusteeship services only for trust for special children families. So we will be launching in different cities. In Mumbai also, we will be launching this trusteeship services, where we will act as a trustee for private trust which are created only for special children families. I'll be sharing the information once we are through with that formation process. Any guidance for girl child specific? With specific, because there is no law which recognizes a special child, a girl or a boy, any specific, there is no structure, or there is no legal framework which recognizes them differently. So what is there for a special child boy is going to be there for a special child girl. Yes, on a personal basis, you can discuss with professionals. You can have structures created in a private trust. So when there is a girl, there is a lot more issues which you have to handle on a personal side. I won't say on a financial side, because financially it might be the same, but on a personal side you might have to manage much more affairs than if you have a special child as a boy. And that's where professionals like doctors, they are going to help around, social workers. So probably it's not on the estate planning tool I've spoken. There is no specific thing for a girl special child, but yes, on a personal investments, yes, there are. So you'll have to take it personally, and probably we can discuss it on a one-to-one discussion, and we can see what exactly you meant when you are talking about a girl as a special child. So any specification on that? Unless trust is registered, you cannot have bank account. So there is a provision in the law which says that if the trust is created through only movable assets, then it need not be registered. You can have a notarized also, and if you have a notarized, it is very well accepted, for opening the bank account. But otherwise, yes, a registration is required. Is revocable trust also have to be registered? As I said, if it's only movable assets, the registration is not mandatory by law. But yes, if it is immovable assets are there, so properties is there in the trust when you are drafting it, then the registration would be required. So even if you notarize today, tomorrow if the immovable asset is being transferred, the trust will have to be get registered. Yes, Shilpa, very true. The letter of intent and vision document probably might be more detailed, on the personal aspect for girls, because letter of intent you are writing about your vision, about your care for the child. The vision document you are writing about your vision, what do you want, how the child care has to be taken. So that's where the difference can come in, when there is a boy and there is a girl. So yes, probably in these two documents the difference will come in. But as far as creating a private trust or creating any financial aspect, I don't think there can you can create a difference in that. Okay, so we end our Facebook discussion today. We'll be live again. As I said, Facebook discussions will be addressing certain aspect. But yes, we are very soon starting some webinar series for special children families on certain aspect. Each webinar will discuss a specific aspect of their life, financial, legal, personal. We are going to discuss on all these matters. So 2020 is going to be the year where we are going to do a lot of education for special children families. And within this lockdown period, because we know most parents are at home, so we are very soon starting a webinar series, and probably you can attend them and you can benefit through our webinar. You can become more aware about managing your special child affairs. Revocable trust can open account. Yes, Dr. Ashok, a revocable trust can very well open bank account. Right. Thank you for now, and thank you for all who have watched this Facebook live session. Next week I'll be live again. I'll be discussing some other aspect of financial or legal side. So bye for now, and let's meet next week. But do keep watching, and do follow Plan Special Needs. We are updating all our events. We are writing articles, and we are also helping families on one-to-one discussions. During this crisis time, you are at home. Take this benefit. Any aspect you want to discuss, schedule a session with us, and we'll help you out. Yes, Dr. Ashok, I'll notify all the webinars. We'll be notifying on the Facebook, on all social media, and through emails also. Thank you. Bye for now. We'll meet next week with discussing certain other aspects.